We begin with Donald Trump and some of his myriad investigations. The House Select Committee investigating January 6 has now received thousands of Secret Service records, including text messages and radio traffic. The Secret Service's actions on January 6 drew attention after former Trump White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson testified that Donald Trump actually argued with his Secret Service detail that day, and they refused to take him to the Capitol to join his supporters. That was all a part of her sworn testimony. In another investigation of Trump's taking of classified documents to his Florida Beach Club after he left office, Thursday is the deadline the DOJ set for Judge Aileen Cannon to allow them to resume their criminal probe of documents they seized at Mar-a-Lago last month. Donald Trump has never explained why he took hundreds of classified and top secret documents to his beach house Mar-a-Lago, and he has never apologized to the American people for the violent insurrection by his own supporters. But he has said that if he's reelected president, he would issue full pardons and a government apology to those rioters who stormed the United States Capitol. And on Wednesday, he called into a small rally at the Washington, D.C. jail to express sympathy for the people, not who were killed on January 6th, but for those who are detained at the jail because they were involved in the insurrection.
It's a terrible thing that has happened to a lot of people that are being treated very, very unfairly. We love Ashley, and it was just so horrible what happened to her. And I just want to tell everybody that's listening, we're with you. We're working with a lot of different people on this, and we can't let this happen.
Jump the gun a little bit, but starting us off is Glenn Kirshner, former federal prosecutor and MSNBC legal analyst. Glenn, how do you see the various investigations of Donald Trump playing out over the course of the next few months as we head into the midterm elections? We know they're not going to likely indict someone before then, but what about the day after?
The day after would be a good time, Zerlina. The American people have waited so long for accountability for any of Donald Trump's crimes. And, you know, there really is this deep injustice at play right now in our country where the boots of the insurrection, the people that Donald Trump ordered to attack the Capitol, to go down there and fight like hell or you won't have a country anymore, to stop the certification of Joe Biden's win, those people are in court every day. They are being tried, convicted. Many of them are being imprisoned. And the person who gave the order to attack the Capitol, who in my book is even more culpable than the foot soldiers, many of whom Donald Trump duped, lied to, deceived into believing their vote was stolen. You know, Donald Trump, who gave the order, he has a tea time virtually every morning and is enjoying his liberty. He hasn't had one moment of accountability visit him yet, and let's hope the heck that changes after the midterms.
So that's actually what I want to talk about today, because every day I think as we see headlines day to day, okay, this is happening with Judge Aileen Cannon, okay, this is happening with Fani Willis down in Georgia, okay, Donald Trump's on a golf course, maybe Michael Cohen said he thinks he's meeting with lawyers. It feels to me that the average American, the average black person, for example, Khalif Browder, was arrested for allegedly stealing a backpack it turned out he didn't steal, was sent to Rikers Island, was put in solitary confinement, which is torture. Michael Cohen was also held in solitary, by the way. But it feels to me like black and brown people don't get all of this hand-wringing. Why has Donald Trump not had any modicum of accountability? He hasn't even had to show up in a court to defend himself. He simply speaks through lawyers and court filings.
Yeah, there's no good answer to that. There's no satisfying answer. When we see how aggressively law enforcement goes after minor drug offenses, or somebody who steals a car, somebody who burglarizes a home, or somebody who sells loose cigarettes, if only our Department of Justice, our prosecutors, would go after what I call the ruling class criminals just as aggressively, because we have criminals in the upper echelons of government. We have criminals who are titans of industry, you know, pharma, big oil. We have, you know, criminals in the entertainment business. And these people are, in a very real sense, allowed to buy their way out of being held responsible for their crimes, not by bribing necessarily, but by donating money to campaigns and by, fighting a war of attrition because they can hire lawyers who will wear down the government. And if only we would focus on what I call the ruling class criminals, because those are the folks, Zerlina, who are doing so much more damage, wide-ranging damage, than somebody who is breaking into a house, stealing a car, snatching a purse, or shoplifting from a CVS. Yes, we have to hold folk accountable for their crimes, but we seem to only hold folk accountable for those, relatively speaking, low-level crimes where the damage is discrete, as opposed to the ruling class criminals. And that's not class warfare. That's just basic fairness.
Oh, no, you're speaking my language. I'm obsessed with this exact point. I often wonder why we talk, almost separate ourselves from the real impact of these disparities, right? I mean, I started this particular show in the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd, who was what? Accused of what?
Passing a counterfeit $20 bill.
Right, like it was, attempting to pass a counterfeit bill that may not have been counterfeit. So maybe like at the worst, you could see it as shoplifting food in the middle of a global pandemic. So it just feels like if that can result in someone being killed because of the aggressive response of law enforcement, certainly the planners of an insurrection, allegedly, should meet the same, not the same type of justice, but stiff and firm justice, swift justice.
Criminal justice reform, Zerlina, which we talk about all the time, yes, it involves doing better with, for example, re-entry programs, setting up folk for failure when they return to the community, which is what we're doing now. How about we set them up for success, which frankly is a win-win, a win for the ex-offender, a win for their family, a win for the community, and they're not likely to reoffend. And we can do better with criminal justice reform on the front end, because we know it's chronic mental health problems, it's chronic unemployment problems, and addiction problems, and homelessness problems that keeps people, committing a series of minor crimes. But, criminal justice reform should also involve holding the people at the top accountable, because we do a lousy job at holding political criminals accountable, business criminals accountable. That, I think, needs to be a focus of criminal justice reform as well.
Yeah, I think a lot about the fact that a lot of crimes are people stealing basic necessities: food, shelter, money to get food, to pay for shelter, to pay for medical bills. And it feels like in this particular moment of American history, because of the pandemic, because of so many things that are going on, people are desperate. People are very desperate in this moment. And, there's so much talk on other channels about rising crime. Well, why don't we talk about the fact that hurt people are hurting other people for a particular reason? Because they do not have enough resources. They don't have health insurance. They don't have fair wages and good treatment at their places of employment. I mean, shouldn't we be talking more about that?
Yeah, we should. And it reminds me of a Bob Dylan lyric, steal a little and they throw you in jail. Steal a lot and they make you king.
We're just going to marinate on that point, I think, for a little bit. I was going to ask you about the special master, but I don't even think that's the point any longer. I think the point is that we need to get to a place where everybody is equal under the law and treated fairly, including a former president. Glenn Kirshner, I want to thank you for being here over the course of the last 2 years and helping us break down all the legal issues, and there were a lot. So thank you so much, as always, for helping us understand it. Stay safe. Hi, I'm Zerlina Maxwell. Thanks for checking out our channel on YouTube. You can see more from Zerlina by clicking any of the videos on this screen, and make sure you subscribe below to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. Thanks for watching.